our glass training brought to you by Miranda Ibarra
and Rudy Shagenfar.
All right, so this is the process in a nutshell. The PM receives glass order from takeoff. PM checks glass order, refer to the glass takeoff checking Swiss. PM submits PO rec to purchasing with spreadsheet attached. Purchasing reviews and submits to one of our 3 vendors, Viracon, Glass Fabber, Garibaldi. Purchasing receives confirmation and updates report 3. Purchasing follows glass through receiving. So the PM is to check glass. For detailed steps on how to check, refer to the standard procedure page, project management, glass takeoff checking. This training presentation will only review how to check glass dimensions.
Okay, so let's say we want to check the dimension of this glass that's labeled 2-3 on the elevation. In order to check it, you want to find that glass either on the elevation, or if it's a unitized job, you want to find it on the unit assembly drawings. And you'll be comparing that to your glass order form, which is shown in the bottom left. So the first thing you're going to do is note the dimension and the dimension point provided on the elevations. These are the locations highlighted right here. And then you're also going to note the details called out on the elevation for the glass that you're just checking. So one thing to pay attention to here, you'll see 1 on 5.51 and 1 on 5.52 are actually below the glass that we're checking. In our drawings, the detail you start reading from the bottom of the page up, and when you hit a detail, that detail applies upwards until you see a new detail through the same vertical. So let's say we want to check the horizontal dimension. I'm going to go to the elevation, and I see this 3 foot 9.5 inch dimension at the top of the glass light. That is from the rough opening to the center line of the mullion. So for the first thing, we're going to open this detail 1 on 5.51. That's the detail shown on the right blown up. To get down to the glass dimension, we need to subtract the caulk joint, subtract the framing member, and then add back the glass bite. So we're going to do this 45.5 minus 3/4 minus 2.5, and then add the 1/2 inch bite. In order to get the bite, you can either ask your drafter, or you can just go ahead, open up, and measure the bite from the CAD file. This slide is looking at the center line now of the intermediate vertical mullion. So when you look at the detail here, you can see that the framing is 2.5 inches wide. So we're going to subtract half of that framing width to get to the dimension point. So we'll subtract 1 1/4, and then we will add back the 1/2 inch glass bite. So when we do all these dimensions and total them up, we find that the horizontal dimension of the glass is 42 inches. So to take the vertical dimension, we're going to follow the same process. We're going to take the overall dimension, which is 48 inches from the elevation. We're then going to take the lower detail, this 3 on 5.01. You can see that the dimension point is to the top of the horizontal. So in this case, we're just going to add the bite because the glass extends 1/2 inch past the dimension point. And then we need to check the head of this unit. So looking at the top, it's very similar actually to the jam condition in the horizontal. We need to subtract the caulk joint, subtract the width of the framing member, and add back the bite. When we do all these, we find a height of the glass is 45 3/4 inches. So our calculated horizontal dimension is 42 inches. The vertical is 45 3/4. And when we look back at our glass order form, we can see that those dimensions match.
All right, so PM to purchasing, through the remainder of these slides, there will be examples and links of material that will be accessible to you. I'm not going to click on everything for the sake of time, but I will get all of this uploaded and you will have access to everything on this PowerPoint. So from the beginning, PM should perform standard checking of glass order for provided from takeoff. Most crucial items I check for is glass type. To be included in the body of your PO, please process the PO per the attached order sheet. Delivery schedule, how you'd like it delivered, boxed or racks, where it will be delivered, shop, field, or third party. Make sure all dates, ship to address, and delivery specifications in spreadsheet match the PO. Fill out PO cover sheet that will generate from takeoff, and there is a copy in our Excel templates. Please submit glass order with pricing and freight if applicable. Send purchasing all drawings required via FTP site, which would be your glass patterns or frit, intricate glass dimensions and shapes, and there's directions below on how to use our FTP site and how to log in. So common mistakes I find: spreadsheets from takeoff does not match the PO's due date, delivery schedule, or delivery location. PO does not have a correct pricing or tax rate based on delivery location. Field deliveries are subcontract deliveries. Field use glass orders must include a driver contact, your lead man or your super, and inputting limited information into the report 3 description at time of PO submission doesn't let us know what we're looking at when we look at the portal. Purchasing review. So what am I checking for? I'm going to review your project glass tracker, better known as your PGT, for your approved submittal uploaded into the document. Confirm all glass types are correct and any alternates are approved for order. Confirm glass has been submitted with pricing, and review your delivery schedule to confirm glass is to begin arriving 2 weeks prior to the shop start, no earlier and no later. Primary vendors, we have 3 right now and 1 more that we kind of use occasionally. It's on a project basis, but our 3 primary vendors are going to be Viracon, and they provide a confirmation with all details to be signed by the PM and returned to the GPA, glass purchasing agent, or myself. And the PO cover sheet is the most important for this vendor. I did include quotes, examples for all these vendors, but we're not going to go through those just because it's a little bit more in detail. And we'll go through that at a later time. Glass fab, we do glass coating and confirmations 30 days prior to the due date. Purchasing will store confirmations in your job folder, project man, materials, glass confirmations, and then zip the confirmations because they come in multiple confirmations because they do the glass by pallet for us. So we don't actually have to sort the glass when we receive it. We get it all palletized. And lastly, Garibaldi does not consistently provide confirmations for project orders. Your original booking will reserve the time slot, and then they will import it once the glass is finalized. And then multiple confirmations by week preferable if all one shipment, they'll send 1 confirmation. Recommendation: meet with vendor prior to order release. And this is just to go through our basic needs and get a feel for what our vendors are capable of. I've also created an agenda that's linked here that goes through all key points. And I will have that uploaded into the Walters & Wolf Word templates so that you'll always have that agenda available for our glass vendors to make sure when we meet with our vendors, we leave with all the information we need. Report 3, what is it and how is it used? Report 3 is a description that can be viewed from the PM dashboard of any project to communicate material updates from purchasing to project management. We review our Report 3 description for original confirmation as well as any updates. So below are some examples. So your original glass order, you'll see in the Report 3 description, you're going to want to put something along the lines of Viracon glass order, shop use glass. If it was field use, you could put field use or tech wall. And then in the comments, I'll always update with when it's coming or when deliveries are to begin, or if I have the confirmation. It's also nice to keep it very organized in terms of multiple phases. So for example, you see below there is the original glass order, and then there's also an auditorium for a natural resource project. So it'll help you differentiate what glass orders you're looking at, especially for the shop when we're searching for glass in all of our POs. And then also any changes to your specific weeks of glass. So any PTS updates, if there's something broken or you have, week 18 updates and a PTS number to refer to, you'll want to make sure you always include that information in your report 3. That way it's easily found on the PM dashboard for the shop, PM, and purchasing. In terms of receiving material, purchasing adds week to the metal tab on the production schedule based on delivery and dates, and will adjust the weeks if glass deliveries change on the schedule. And this is just primarily for my tracking to make sure that every week I have a flag saying, these are the items that I have coming. I track deliveries to make sure they are met and forecasted for the shop. Glass issues are tracked through problem tracker sheet, also known as PTS, with the shop. Some examples of what this PTS report might be tracking would be defective glass, low E issues, incorrect fit pattern, incorrect sizing, defective airspace, broken upon arrival, even broken in our shop. And below is how PTS updates are translated through the report 3 update to the PM and shop once replacement is ordered. So below you can see it says replacement glass, the mark number, the PTS number, and it'll update the PM and the shop when received with that note. So it's important to make sure that note's filled out, because the shop will receive that note and know exactly what that PO is for. And that is it.